Welcome to the great place. So today, because it's kind of rainy, we're supposed to go over to this like little museum area to check out all the stuff, kind of get a history of like the first cab and everything like that, or first team I should say. But because it's kind of rainy, they just gave us a history lesson inside of the building. So since I have the time, I'm going to go over it myself. It's not really that rainy, so that's what I'm going to go do, and that's what you're going to see. Now this is a memorial given to the soldiers who lost their lives in the terror attack in that day in Fort Hood. It's 13 years ago. So you can see it says, "Death leaves a heartache no one can heal. Love leaves a memory no one can steal." So, and everyone who's lost a loved one knows that, or knows how to experience that. And the people that were lost were Chief Warrant Officer Cahill, Major Caravillo, Staff Sergeant DeCrow, Captain Gaffney, Specialist Green, Specialist Hunt, PFC Zhang, Lieutenant Colonel Norman, PFC Velez, Captain Seeger, PFC Pearson, PFC Namelka, Staff Sergeant Kruger. Unfortunately, that happened here. Here we have a bench that says Honor and Courage. I'm not going to sit on it. I don't feel like it's right to sit on. Here we have, for all those who have served and to the fallen of the 8th Cavalry Regiment from 1866 to the modern era, your sacrifices are remembered across countless generations. So that's what this and the bench, I guess, are connected. Now this is a like a memorial monument thing to fallen soldiers, I guess, from different things in Korea and everything. Like the last enlisted and Officer Red Dragons of the 382nd Field Artillery. This is a thing here. I took a picture of it and I'll show it here on the screen if you want to stop the video and look at what it fully says. You see all the coins on it and everything. The different coins mean different things. Like pennies just mean you visited, but dimes and everything else mean like you might have knew the guy or whatever. But those quarters that you see, from what I understand, the quarters mean you were there when they died. So the person who visited this might have known someone that was in that group or part of this group in Korea or whatever, that they knew that they lost. They were there when they were KIA. So it's something to hold respect of. Now this thing here, I've tried to read it. It's hard to read because it's all wet and everything. But it says Red Dragon's Home. And it's just kind of worn in a way that I can't read it, per se, unfortunately. So, but this thing here, listing of several names and then how this monument is here with the helmet. I've seen this before. Not this monument. I mean, I've seen this in real life in Korea. We had a soldier that committed suicide. Wasn't in my unit or anything, but we went to the funeral nonetheless. And they had this there, and it's not something you want to see. It was the only time I've been to a military funeral so far, and I hope it's the last freaking time I've ever been to a military funeral, because they had her dog tags there with her boots and the helmet, and it's not something you forget, and it's not something you want to have happen again. Now this is something interesting that the retired Sergeant Major told us. This marble you see like over here in these areas is made from the same stuff they used to make the Vietnam one in Washington. All these marbles and everything. And so this is all everything about a Medal of Honor recipient. Not sure who, I guess it's this over here. Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers. That's who he is. What did he do? For extraordinary heroism during the 16th and 19th of November 44, was serving the Company A, 761st Tank Battalion near France. Tank hit a mine while advancing toward France. Though severely wounded on the leg, Sergeant Rivers refused medical treatment and evacuation, took command of another tank, and advanced with his company into the Gilbing the next day. Repeatedly refusing evacuation, Sergeant Rivers continued to direct his tank's fire at enemy positions through the morning of 19 November. At dawn, Company A's tanks began to advance toward Bournemouth, where were stopped by enemy fire. Sergeant Rivers' tank, joined by another tank, opened fire on the enemy tanks, covering Company as they withdrew. While doing so, Sergeant Rivers' tank was hit, killing him and wounding the crew. Staff Sergeant Rivers' fighting spirit and daring leadership were an inspiration to his unit and exemplified the highest traditions of the armed forces. So, he was killed and everything, but he did his duty. BS on that. So that's what this thing is about. You can see the pictures and everything over here, like the line. I think that's where the dragon teeth and everything. There's Bastogne, Guillemont, Bastogne. Of course, everyone wants to talk about Guillemont. So here's near Gubling, right? So that's where he was, near that area. Interesting. What's this over here? It's a Black Panther on the back. Cool. Memory of those who made the supreme sacrifice. Alright. This is a thing of sacrifice, I guess, of everyone who died in the part of this unit. Private Adams of Waco, Texas. Staff Sergeant Woodard, Georgia. Technician Mann, Illinois. Corporal Chapman, Virginia. Private Nathan Simmons, Beaufort, South Carolina. Private Byrd, Alabama. Emil Armstrong, Private, Ohio. Sergeant King, Rogue, Michigan. First Sergeant Turley of New York. Private Robert Briscoe, Baltimore. Second Lieutenant Coleman, D.C. Private Lofton, Texas. Sergeant Harrison, New York. Private Cooper, South Carolina. Private Alexander Anderson, Pennsylvania. Technician Horatio Scott, Massachusetts. Technician Campbell, Hempstead, New York. Sergeant Shivers, Bainbridge, Georgia. Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers of Oklahoma. Technician Ewing, Oklahoma. Second Lieutenant Hammond, Ohio. Private First Class Hillard, Texas. Corporal Graham, North Carolina. Technician Dunn, Kentucky. Private Simmons, Michigan. Private Woburn Jr., Carolina, North. Technician Johnson, North Carolina. Sergeant Johnson, D.C. Staff Sergeant Nelson, Detroit, Michigan. Technician Jesse Bond, North Carolina. Technician DeVore, South Carolina. First Lieutenant Huffman, South Dakota. Corporal Freed Brown of New York. Sacrifice not be in vain. So this is all, and these are benches here. I guess you can sit on them, but I'm not going to. This is all to the people of the 761st Tank Battalion, and states all what happened here. I want to slow down the video and look at it all if you can. Wow. Understand more of the context now. It's the Black Panther Division. It's one of the first units of African Americans that were instituted during the war of World War II. This is kind of faded more on the back here, but it says France, Isonce, Morville, Vic, Wolfling, then to Belgium. It's the different areas where they went to. Holland, Germany, Austria. Here at the top, it's very kind of faded. But major combat engagements at the very top. So I haven't entered this area yet, but among all these different names are showing me Iraq, so I'm guessing this might be the Iraq memorial. These are just different soldiers that were killed and everything that happened. So, alright, this memorial site was made possible through generous contributions, of the organizations. Tell with that, thank you for helping. Alright, 2nd Battalion, 20 Field Artillery. Yeah, this is all the things for Iraq. Yeah. Deep Strike. Is there anything on the back? Because on those, they have the things on the back. I have the emblem. Duty, not reward. Alright, it's 3rd Battalion, 16th Infantry, Field Artillery, in honor of those who served. Tank Task Force Gunner. Pace setters. I've heard of pace setter stuff before. I've heard that mentioned around here a couple times, something about pace setters. Not exactly sure who, but straight arrows. So here we have a bunch of memorials and everything. It says in memory of the tank destroyer forces of World War II. And over here, this thing. Veterans and baptized in fire and blood come out steel. So it's a pretty big thing. Regiment of the Mounted Riflemen of 3rd Cavalry Association. This is an Iraq memorial. So, got a lot here to unpack. 3rd Cavalry, 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment, Operation New Dawn. It's raining some hail even, but I don't care. 3 rifles. There we have the names of all the different squadrons, I guess. Saber, Thunder, Steel, Pioneer. Just the different names of people who've died, unfortunately, in their time out there. Oh yeah. Desert Storm, World War II, World War I, Philippine Insurrection, War of Steel, and then Enduring Freedom. Interesting. So this is a little area of all the people who gave up their farms and everything, and all the communities that were, taken for the community established for Fort Hood way back in the day. They got different benches, they got all these names on all the different communities and people's farms that were taken away. Interesting, again, the history of all this. This bench is missing the top part. So it's a new day today. New day. I mean, you saw the rain that happened. It kept getting worse. Like thunderstorms and everything. It started thundering real bad, and I was like, I can't be out here anymore. It's going to be too dangerous. So I'm back today. You guys are off early again to explore the rest. So that's what we're going to go see. This is the attack helicopter Cobra. This is what they were talking about the other day. It's what a captain won a Medal of Honor flying with, because he was doing a lot of reconnaissance stuff and that decided to engage the enemy. Fortunately, it cost him his life, but he did. So this is basically the vehicle that he used. Okay, I'm recognizing that now. Interesting. I'm not going to go up and touch it, but the glass, it is a real helicopter, just the glass, I don't know, I guess isn't, but pretty cool looking. This thing's called a Mohawk. I've never heard of a Mohawk before. It's this guy. It's got propellers. Interesting cockpit here. Huh. I've never heard of a Mohawk before. Maybe I've seen it, but I've never heard of that terminology. There's a bird inside it. Huh. So, but it's got all this information about it and everything. Trying to show up on the screen. Huh. Can't say this is a plane I've seen before. This is all different stuff that the unit has used in the past and everything. Several empty lots. I'm not sure why. I don't know if they're sending it to another museum or anything like that. And this is a kind of regular helicopter you've seen before. It's very small. This is an observation helicopter. It's actually very small when you look at it. I mean, look at this thing. I thought it was a lot. You do see a lot of these today, like with news reporters type thing, and it's a lot smaller being up close to it than what I realized. Huh. Okay, now this freaking thing, this is interesting. You always see something like this in like a sci-fi movie, almost. I think I remember seeing something like this in maybe like a clip from the Clone Wars and Star Wars or something. I know I've seen something like it, but I know it's like, oh, it doesn't have any information about it. It's like a carrier, see those hooks and everything, they pick up stuff and they can drop off things. Man, this thing's huge. This thing is long and huge. My gosh. It's an impressive buzzard for sure, but man. See, now when I think of military, this is freaking military. This, oh my gosh. Wow. Man, is there anything on this side that explains what it was? Ah, here we go. The sky crane. That's what it's called. Man. Sky crane. Tarhe sky crane. This is probably my favorite of these flying vehicles that I've seen today. This is awesome. Now I know what this is. If you've ever watched MASH, which I have countless times because of my dad, you recognize this type of helicopter. The Sui is what it's called. So, yep, 1947. This is exactly the same type of helicopter you would always see on MASH. You could have litters on the side. It's a little bit different. This is an observational one, supposed to be a medical evac. But nonetheless, this is always the thing you always see from that show. This is exactly what it is. It's very small, seeing it very close up. I mean, you could tell in the show it was, in fact, small. But now actually seeing it up close, yeah, you can really tell how small it was. Even though this is a little bit different, but still. Okay, this is another angle of the Mohawk. And I will say now it looks much more familiar as far as a military plane that I've seen before. It's just seeing it from like a side angle, but I never knew it was called a Mohawk. So that's good. Now, here we go. This is what I like seeing. Freaking tank. And this is the Patton tank. Okay. So, that's how it all is. It's not the Sherman what they used in World War II, but it is freaking cool looking. It's inside the barrel. Well, there's a view. That's a cool view. Now over here, one of these is a Sherman. Let's see. Main battle tank, Detroit tank. Huh. Interesting. It's kind of similar to a Sherman. Like an updated Sherman almost. I mean, when I was in Korea, I didn't really get to saw tanks, but I didn't get to really be around the tanks. So being this close to tanks now, it's pretty interesting. Another empty lot, for whatever reason. Alright, another tank of Patton. It's like a medium Patton tank. Okay, so they got different sizes. That's a larger one on the end, and then this one is a medium. Look at that. Is that a 50 cal up there? There it says on the thing. 30 caliber and 50 caliber around the turret. Okay. So it's got a 30 and a 50 up on there. Alright, that's good. My dad would absolutely love looking at all this stuff. Another medium tank Patton. Long barrel. Huh. All these tanks, or several of them, named after Patton. Oh, no wonder. Now this is an actual vehicle that I've kind of driven. I've driven like a new version of this. It's very similar to vehicles that use like a PLS system or something like that. You can see this is an actual vehicle that I guess they use. This is a wrecker, but that tire is blown out. But you gotta So this is the vehicle that goes and takes other vehicles that are broken down or whatever. I've driven some things like this, but this one is like an older model, I think, of a lot of the other stuff today. Because, yeah, Oshkosh and everything. Yep. And those tires are messed up. That's why it's out here, probably, right? Alright, Armored Personnel Carrier. It's kind of interesting. Now, in Korea, they had these things, but they were always carrying pods. So something very similar, how these things go. Interesting. Oh, this guy over here, another tank. Wait, is this a tank? What are these things? Let's go find out. It's got a drip pan underneath it. Wonder why that is. Combat Engineer Vehicle. Huh. Okay. Oh yeah. So it's like a tank, but made for engineers. It's got the shovel on the front. Interesting. See, I like looking at all this history stuff. Look at this guy with a big gun. A big old barrel. This... Oh, this is a howitzer. Oh gosh. I actually was not expecting this to be a howitzer. That is a huge barrel. I know you can't really tell from video-wise, but just trust me, this is a huge freaking barrel. My goodness. And this over here, is it an anti-tank thing? Self-propelled, another howitzer. These are all howitzers. Huh. I mean, these things are huge. And you see how big the barrel is, and then you go back to the tanks, how big their barrel was, and you look at this, it's no comparison. These things are like 3 times the size of the barrel of the tanks, as far as thickness goes. Alright. Support Team Vehicle. I don't know what that is. Huh. Kind of looks like a robot. Kind of looks like little bongo trucks that they had in Korea almost. It's an ambulance? Is this one of the first ambulances they used to have or something? What is this? 6-wheeled ambulance. It's a version of the M561, nicknamed a Gamma Goat. Really? 70s through the 90s. So it's like, oh, semi-amphibious. Oh. A semi-amphibious ambulance. Okay, does it just float across rivers or? Huh. Interesting. I have to say, this is one of the more interesting vehicles out of everything. That's really... I don't know what to think about that. That's Gamma Goat. Who calls it a Gamma Goat? Why is it called a Gamma Goat? Now this thing, again, these type designs of these vehicles, the same things these other guys had in Korea, though bigger, carrying the pods. Armored Personnel Carrier, yeah. Yeah, figure that. Yep. Now this, guarantee this is called a deuce and a half. If it's not a deuce and a half, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Is that a deuce and a half? Or the, yep, deuce and a half. 2.5 ton truck. Cargo truck, yep, deuce and a half. I actually saw, they had some guys at PT driving by. They were in a vehicle just like this. Not even kidding. They were in a deuce and a half. We didn't have deuce and a halves in Korea. Not that I saw. That's not a Casey. Alright. And back over here. The Vulcan Anti-Aircraft Gun. Oh yeah, Vulcan. Look at that barrel. You don't want to be in the side of that. Speaking of the site, the sky crane's right over there. I can't get over the sky crane. The sky crane is just too cool. This vehicle is just awesome. We have a little truck thing. Very little, in fact. Now we go to more tanks. Tanks a lot. It's got a 1.9 cab on it. Walker Bulldog. No, General W.W. Walker. Oh, it's Korean. Alright. Interesting. Walker tank. Alright. There's this thing. I don't know what it is. Actually, while I was out here, some first sergeants came up. They're working on something. I said, you know, there's some empty spaces. They told me, yeah, they're taking them to like, see if there's empty spaces up there. They told me they're like taking them to another museum or something. I'm like, oh, okay, they're supposed to be actually going to a museum. So that's why there's empty spaces. That answers that question. This is a howitzer. I'm not, even though the howitzer barrels are big and the vehicles are big, I'm not really as intimidated or impressed by these things. I'd have to see how it actually shoots and everything, really, maybe to understand it. There's a rocket. I don't know. I didn't actually get to see any shooting from everything. On it. Wait, what? Honest John. Honest John. Why is it called Honest John? Nickname Honest John was developed at Redstone. I don't know why, but okay. I have to look that up. There's another thing. There's a machine gun up top. You can see the barrel is filled in, that way it can't be used. Another armored personnel carrier from in Korea, after the Korean War. Huh, interesting. Half-track. I believe this is what would be called. I think my dad told me about something like this. For sure, half-track. Yep, half-track. Half-tracks produced between the years of World War II. It's referred to as the Army's maid of all work. It's used in ambulance, weapons carrier, cargo carrier, many other uses. Huh. Okay. I think my dad probably had some sort of experience working with this. I'm not sure if they have it today, but I think my dad did. My dad served during the tail end of Vietnam, but he was, you know, plenty of stories, not everything that I know. I'm trying to figure out more things, but this is an engineer vehicle. It's got a shovel on it and everything. Oh no, it's a recovery vehicle. Okay. M74 Armored Recovery Vehicle. Alright. Well, that's interesting. Okay, now here we go. Little bitty cannon here. See, when I think of a howitzer, I was thinking of something more like this. This is a 75mm pack howitzer. So you can carry it on the back of the Jeeps and stuff like that. Put them. Okay, so if this is what a howitzer is, and you compare it to those things over there, that big old Jeep, I mean that big old track, yeah, that barrel's, gosh, man, how far can these things go? Like range, 1,000 meters, so 3,000 feet, so almost like half a mile or more. Oh man, that means those things can go way farther. Those big old things, oh my gosh. Okay, I have more respect for those now. This is an anti-tank gun. I've seen this probably in a film or something before. Though interesting. Now this, I was curious to see what the heck is this? It's a small tank. I'm wondering, is that let's see. What is this? A Stuart tank. Light tank was Army standard model after the beginning of World War II. Really? Is this small tank? Stuart tank. I'm trying to remember if I've seen this in a movie, but I'm not sure if I have. It's small. It says it has a crew of 4 men. Range 70 miles. 70 miles as far as shooting? Or 70 miles as far as... Nah, it can't be... 70 miles? I think that's just with gas. That has to be just gas, not actual shooting wise, right? If this thing can go 70 miles. Alright, this one I've seen before. I've seen something very much like it before. Light armored scout carrier, yeah. I might have seen this in probably like in a Call of Duty game, one of the older World War II ones or something. I've seen this before in some sort of media. Something. You actually look at these things and you see how small they are. It's just kind of like, you fit, like this guy says fits 6 guys. That fits 4. This fits 6. I mean, you have a guy up there, 2 guys driving up front. It's just, one loading. Man, that's cramped. So this park, Memorial Park, is named after Brumas, Lieutenant Colonel of the United States Army. So he's killed in action in Vietnam, commanding the 8th 1/8. So, that's the name of this park. Thank you, sir. Now, the little history lesson they gave us the other day about, yes, the 1st Cavalry is the 1st in Manila, 1st in Tokyo, 1st in Pyongyang. That's why it's often why the nickname of the cavalry got called 1st Team. And that's why, you know, we're called 1st Team. This is another howitzer. It says range 7.1 miles. I'm guessing just by gas, right? This is a much kind of thicker, interesting barrel. Let me see if I can show you the back end. Yeah, see how it kind of connects with everything? It's interesting. But there's a bird that keeps going into the barrel. I don't know if they're trying to build a nest in there or nothing. But this thing, kind of similar to what they had in, not exactly the same thing in MASH, but, let's see. 1967, so this is after in Vietnam. Not the same things in MASH. Okay. Alright, cool, interesting. These little guys. I've seen something like this. I think I've seen something like this in Korea. I don't know why, but I remember seeing something like this. What is this? Mechanical Mule. Okay, interesting. Alright, well, that's what this is. You want to stop and read it? I guess. Oh yeah, little Jeep. They got drip pans underneath the thing, which I don't, if there's any fluids in it, I guess that'd be why, but the mutt truck. I think my dad actually referred to this as a mutt truck once. And saw service through the mid-1980s. So my dad would have driven one of these, because he drove a Jeep often, he said. So this is something my dad would drive. I think I've actually heard him say mutt truck before. So that's something my dad would have driven. Alright, that's good. More of these, like, these track carriers, which are interesting. This is a reconnaissance carrier. It can fit up to 3 crew and 4 passengers. I'm sure you have like 2 tracks and 1 driver. Oh gosh. I'm trying to drive this freaking thing. That's another kind of deuce and a half. Yeah, this is another A211 truck. Yeah, deuce and a half. Referred to as a deuce and a half, was designed and produced by the James Electric General Motors from 50 to 1955. Yeah, deuce and a half is something you'll see often. Probably the first time I've seen a deuce and a half was this morning, actually. There's another tank, which I like to see, and it's got like a lion or something up front. I don't know what that is. Tiger? Some sort of cat. Like an evil cat lion thing. Ah, no wonder why it's the Sherman. This is the Sherman. It's actually bigger than what it looks like. I mean, bigger than what I was expecting. Yeah, it actually is taller than what I expected. It might be different variants of Shermans, but it's widely produced, widely used, the most important tanks of all service in American, British, and Allied force in World War II. Yep. Nicknamed Sherman by the British. Oh, the British nicknamed it. Okay. 30,000 produced in the years 42 to 46. Yep. But why does this one have a cat on the front? I've seen a couple other tanks here on base that have had like these cats. I'm guessing that has to do with something in the unit. So another Jeep. Another look at the Sherman. 50 cal up top. Another Jeep thing. Let me guess. Utility truck Jeep. Reduced by Willis and Kaiser after war used in Korea. Okay, 13th Signal Battalion. Yeah, so not necessarily my dad would have used that. There we go. Another one of these mobile howitzers. You do not want to be in the midst of that thing getting shot. Gun motor carriage priest. Self-propelled artillery piece on the tank chassis. The priest by the British due to the pulpit-like appearance of its anti-aircraft gunner's position. Oh, because he's high up? Okay, that's interesting. Oh, this guy. So... oh, that's the Walker again. Okay, I thought it was something different. Alright, so we got some more guys all the way over here. Let's take another look at the Sherman one more time, because that's often the vehicle you use in, any World War II game you ever played. That's always the tank you always get to use. It's a freaking Sherman. So it is taller than what I was expecting, for sure. But I would say Sherman is more intimidating being close up to it now than I was thinking. This is the biggest snowplow I've ever seen. No, it's not a big snowplow. It's actually an armored recovery vehicle. So, but it's more recent, used in Desert Storm, it says, but it's pretty big. And I would say this one's much more intimidating looking compared to some of the other ones I've seen. Now this over here is another tank. What tank is this? Or is this a howitzer? Has to be a tank. No other explanation. What other tank would this be? This is a main battle tank, Type 69. It's a Chinese tank. Ah, it's a Chinese tank. So this is what the Chinese would use. Huh. This tank was captured by the 1st Cavalry Division during Operation Desert Storm. Well, that's interesting. Huh. Yeah, I've heard of Type 69s before, so that's interesting. Range, 273 miles. Yeah, so the range is how far it can go gas-wise, not 30 miles an hour, so. And it takes only 3 crew? Really? Wow. That's interesting. So these all, things we've captured in the past? It has to be stuff we've captured in the past. Like this one is Soviet truck. Soviet truck and an anti-air gun. I've seen something like that before. So these are all captured pieces that we've taken. Okay. I'm guessing this is another Type 69 kind of a vehicle. Let's see what this guy is. PT-76 and light amphibious tanks. Light. There's nothing light looking about this freaking thing. Vehicle in service in 54. Huh. So interesting. It's definitely... so these are all tanks we've captured and everything, but it's a Soviet tank. Huh. Okay, now this thing got a big old truck and carriage. 3.5 ton. Oh gosh. So what would you call it? 3.5. 3.5. Soviet Union. This thing's big. Of course, it's set up on jacks, but still. Even without the jacks, it's not that far off the ground. Only what? 6 inches? That's still pretty big. I wonder if that's what the Soviets are using now. Actually, Soviets. I'm sorry. I'm wondering if that's what the Russians are still using. Probably still use some stuff like that. Alright, it's like a turtle tank, like a flat nose or the flathead turtles. And look at that, armored personnel carrier. Oh, public and at the Red Square parade, it was called that. Oh, the vehicle was captured during the Egyptian-Israeli Six-Day War and given to the U.S. Army. Oh. So Israel captured this because all the Arab nations going against Israel, and so Israel captured this one. Oh, okay, that's cool. Crew 3, passenger 8. Huh. It's like the spoils of war section. Now this guy, see how big this barrel is. It's a huge barrel. What's this guy? main battle tank. Introduced in 75, operated in the Soviet Union in 79. Estimated 2,600 units. This tank was captured by the Cavalry Division 19 during trench clearing operations in Desert Storm. I have to say, this thing is freaking intimidating. I mean, look at this. What are all those pipes? So all those things you can shoot like grenades? You can shoot like multiple grenades off or something? I don't know. That's intimidating for sure. That's probably one of the better tanks out of all the ones I've seen, besides the Sherman, which is still king compared to these. Alright, we're on France. It's an amphibious. Captured during Desert Storm. Okay. So, part boat, part thingamajig. Now this I've seen in games. Stuff very much like it. Armored personnel carrier, yep. By Angazia in Brazil, what's that? Captured during Desert Storm. We captured a lot of things during Desert Storm, I guess. Huh. Look at this little Jeep. It's a tiny little Jeep. Combat Support Vehicle. UAZ. And the Aviation Brigade during Desert Storm, yeah. So we just captured all of them and bring them back. There's another tank. Main battle tank. The tank was used in the invasion of Hungary in 1956, Czechoslovakia in 68, and Syria in 70. T-54 was the main Arab tank in 67-73 wars with Israel. This one was captured by Iraqi forces during Desert Storm. Oh, it was used by Iraqi forces during Desert Storm and was captured by the 1st Cav. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, low to the ground. Oh wow, you can actually look inside the barrel. Would be funny if a bird just flew out right then. There's another one, very much like it. Another big barrel thing. Gosh. Oh, it's a howitzer. Used by Iraq, captured during the Desert Storm. Okay. So these are all the... Oh my gosh, look at this. It's like a Pinocchio one. Any military guys who was part of Desert Storm and was part of any capturing of any type of things, like stuff like this, any stories you like to share? Oh, it was built after World War II, but it was captured during Desert Storm. Okay. Crew takes 7 men to work this thing. Yeah, this thing's huge. I mean, it doesn't look huge compared to the tank, but look at how much stuff you got to deal with it. Wow. Now here, over here, on this spot, got some little thingamajigs here. Anti-aircraft machine gun. Used in Desert Storm, captured. Yep. Okay. I actually say this might be my kind of favorite anti-aircraft gun I've seen. Just kind of like short to the point. Okay. Okay, never mind. This one might be. Well, actually, I like both. This is like a droideka, almost from Star Wars. See the 4-barrel thing? That's what's in the circle motion in the middle. It's like the droideka or that thing that General Grievous used in Revenge of the Sith. Interesting. Anti-aircraft machine gun. Zebra was a quadruple anti-aircraft version Soviet. That's cool. I have to say, that is cool. But yeah, that's definitely Star Wars-like. Wow. This one I've seen something similar to like that before. America has stuff like this. Pretty sure. 1st Cavalry Division trench, yep. Yeah, we got something like this. I've seen something like that before. Now this is a Japanese tank. I mean, it's got the rising sun flag on the side. What do they call this? Type 88? Or light store? Really? This vehicle was built by American car foundry in Pennsylvania. It's light tank and Army standard. encountered these Oh, they're capture tanks. These vehicles painted to represent one of the vehicles that were captured by the Japanese. Oh, so this is an American tank. So this is the same as the other tank. It's just painted to make it look like they're the Japanese. Oh, okay. That makes more sense now. Well, that's interesting. So the Japanese captured it, and then we captured it back. Alright. And we got these little howitzer gun things. Intriguing. Are these captured, or what are they? Japanese model is a copy of the German. This example was captured in World War II. Okay, yeah. And this is also Japanese. This Type 1 only had a marginal effect against the Sherman, though. Okay. And that one. Alright. Well, interesting, for sure. So that's what this little outdoor museum had to offer and everything. There would have been more, but I guess they're taking them to another museum, a first sergeant said, which is cool. That you learn a little bit more every day and everything. Like, I thought it was just, oh yeah, that's a Japanese tank. No, I mean, technically, yeah, used by the Japanese, but no. So learn some stuff, which is good. You always go to the historical places and you learn some things and everything. I'm looking at the sky crane right now. That's my favorite thing here, is that sky crane vehicle. That's just cool looking. So, just hope the Lord's ever gonna help. But I hope you like this as my continuing journey throughout Texas and learning more about, you know, this great state from the great place. Not just Fort Hood, but I'd love to try to go visit the Alamo and other places one of these days. So that's what this continual thing is about. Learning history and doing historical stuff. I don't know how often I'll be able to post, you know, updates and everything, but I'll post when I can. So just thank you for watching, and, you know, list some ideas of where I can go visit, you know, someday next. So thank you and goodbye.